How's it going, everybody? It's Polyflame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at the best captaincy choices for double game week 27. Much smaller of a double game week this week, from the double game week 26, which is almost concluded. The last 3 games are going to be played tomorrow at the time of recording. So that's going to be on the 4th of March. I believe Everton plays, so any Dominic Calvert-Lewin owners, I know there's a lot of people that captain him. Kane and Son still have to go, as well as Liverpool and Chelsea, a potential top 4 decider there. So some big games going on there. And with this week, it's just a small double game week with just Man City and Southampton doubling up in that one. So could be some potential captaincy options there. If you are enjoying the videos, make sure to leave a like on it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. As well as give us a follow over on Twitter so you can see what we post over there. I've been posting some different FPL related memes and that sort of stuff. Just some things to lighten up the mood when your game week's not necessarily going as well as it should be, or maybe it is going well and you see some of the funnier memes. You know, sometimes you have to kind of take away from it a little bit and not be as serious. Yes, we all want to obviously get that #1 spot, but sometimes there's things that lighten up the mood a little bit and have a little laugh to yourself, because in these turbulent times, it's always good to kind of have a little bit of an escape. And if FPL is not going away, then honestly, I try to see things that I find that are funny over on the good old Twitter, as well as Twitch. Make sure to follow us over on that so you could join us for the live streams. We typically do an hour on those, and it's usually for the preview as well as the deadline streams that we'll be doing. And we will be doing one of those, one tomorrow for the preview stream for game week 27. So make sure to come check us out for that. That's going to be at 7 p.m. EST, so that's going to be after all the fixtures have been played tomorrow. And we'll also be doing a deadline stream on Saturday, 1 hour before the FPL deadline, which should be at 5 a.m. EST. So make sure to come check us out for that. So without further ado, let's see what captaincy options we have for this game week. So the first player we have on our list is a Manchester City player who has a double versus Man United and Southampton, which is İlkay Gundogan, someone who was actually rested in the last game that they played versus Wolves. Came off the bench, got himself an assist to get himself 6 points for the game week. He did have a chance in the West Ham game as well, or at least was in and around the box. Kind of not really what he has been doing, but he still is picking up some good position. Now, people are saying that De Bruyne may be taking away from some of his attacking returns and that sort of stuff, but if you actually go look back, Gundogan started this form even when De Bruyne was in the team and kind of continued it along with him. Now, there is a chance that De Bruyne could potentially be rested in one of these 2 games, potentially the Southampton game. But because Man United is a big game and Pep's going to want to probably play his best team and won't take the game lightly. And I think that De Bruyne would definitely help them out, although it is a bit of a coincidence potentially that De Bruyne has come back and they, haven't kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, which they could have easily done so versus West Ham and Wolves. So maybe there's a little bit of something there. But De Bruyne is obviously a world-class midfielder. It's just probably a coincidence for him coming back. But he does look a little bit rusty, which is why Gundogan is going to need to step up. I can easily see Gundogan popping and arriving late in the box, getting in behind the likes of, even Southampton's midfield 2 or United's midfield 2 for a goal in one of these 2 games. So I think he could definitely be good there. And he's got 11 of those on the season, has been on a great run of form. And for somebody who only played a few minutes in the last game of the double game week in 26 and played the full game in the first game versus West Ham, 6 points is an okay-ish return. With Man City players in a double game week, you kind of expect them to play one and be benched in the other. With Gundogan, I think he's definitely playing the next 2. He's good, against a team that presses, and he's good at arriving in behind, like the center defensive midfielders, and in and around this, like in between that line of midfield and defense. And I think both of these 2 teams, one of which Man United hasn't been performing well recently, although they have been keeping clean sheets, but are easily exploitable at the back. And Southampton, who has Romeo out for the remainder of the season, Gundogan can definitely exploit that area as well. So I think he's definitely going to be a good captaincy option, potentially even a triple captaincy option. Both fixtures are at home. I expect them to start both fixtures, and I think he could be potentially in for a big haul for double game week 27. Now, we mentioned Kevin De Bruyne as well. He's somebody who's probably going to be playing both games, if not see minutes in the Man United game for sure from the start, and then some minutes maybe off the bench in the Southampton game. But probably a little bit riskier here. You know, he has basically started the last 2 games, and Pep seems to be rotating his squad quite heavily. But De Bruyne is one of these players which I would rank 3rd in terms of most nailed-on player for Man City. You have Ederson at the very top because he's the goalkeeper. You then have Diaz, who's 2nd, who seems to pretty much play game in, game out for City at the back, and Stones and Laporte are the ones that get rotated. And then when De Bruyne is fit, he's the one that kind of plays game in, game out as well. Even Rodri, I would say, is probably more susceptible to getting rotated with Fernandinho, although he's not really an FPL asset in that regard. But De Bruyne this season, not really getting much from open play in terms of goals and that sort of stuff. He's more of the assist kind of guy. A little bit on the expensive side at the moment for that price, but I think the double game week, if you have him like myself, you're expecting something from him. He was able to get 10 points in the double game week just gone for his 2 fixtures, which is a pretty good return considering he only actually got an assist in both of those games. So overall, I think there's still more to come from Kevin De Bruyne, and he's got a low ownership, 13.2%. So if you do decide to captain him, he could potentially be something in that. De Bruyne also seems to do quite well in the bigger games as well. I remember him scoring a very crucial goal in a 1-0 versus Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. He likes doing well versus Arsenal. And against Man United, he's probably going to be one of the players that I can expect to play quite well. And I think he could do extremely well versus them. Southampton as well, he could potentially pick their back line apart, which is quite slow. He's very good with both feet and could basically beat their slow center backs with a ball in behind, or with the outside of his right foot, or basically anything. He just needs to kind of shake off that rustiness, and I think he'll definitely start to do that versus United and then continue his form into Southampton. He just needs to get some game time. So I don't expect him to get dropped in the Southampton game, although I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's just an extremely good player. I'm definitely expecting him to start versus Man United and get at least some minutes in the Southampton game, but probably expect him to start in both of them because he's just that good of a player. On his day, potentially the best player in the Premier League. So yeah, Kevin De Bruyne could be a good captaincy option. Probably 2nd in behind the likes of Ilkay Gundogan, and I think you potentially see some returns from the Belgian midfielder this game week. Now, our 3rd captaincy choice this week is actually our differential pick that I usually do, and it's just because Ruben Diaz is a defender, and typically you don't really want to captain defender, although I think that Ruben Diaz could be in for at least 12 points this game week. I don't see Man United scoring versus City with how they've been defending quite well. West Ham and Wolves, their attacks have been somewhat decent, or trying to be a little bit decent. Wolves is a bit kind of all over the place and got quite fortunate with a set piece versus City, but West Ham's attack we know is quite good, and United's had 3 0-0s in a row, and every time they play versus a Big Six team this season, barring the 1 penalty that they scored versus Spurs, they have not scored a single goal as of yet. They lost 1-0 to Arsenal and drew 0-0 in the reverse fixture. Both 0-0s versus Chelsea, 0-0 versus Liverpool, 0-0 versus City. So looks to be a clean sheet for Diaz potentially, and he's most likely going to start both games. And then versus Southampton, they haven't been scoring many goals lately either. They've been in a terrible run of form and potentially could be in a relegation fight if they're not careful. So potentially looking at 12 points, just like the score he got this week as well. So he's got 1 goal, 1 assist on the season, 119 points, a great return. He's 23.1% ownership as well. Is Diaz potentially rotation risk? I don't think so. I think he definitely starts the Man United game. He's their best defender. And I don't think it gets rotated unless it's like the tie is sewn up in the Champions League. So maybe he doesn't start versus like Gladbach or something like that. But I don't think it should be too much of an issue in the Premier League. City's going to want to win get as many games under their belt as possible in the Premier League so that they can have such a massive points gap in the Premier League where it's basically mathematically won, and then they'll probably start rotating in the league after that and then focus on the Champions League, assuming that they're still in it, which I'm pretty sure they will be because they should beat Gladbach and go through. But yeah, Diaz, leader from the back, could potentially be getting a goal off the set piece as well. United aren't great on set pieces, and Southampton haven't been, that, controlling on set pieces, although they have changed their goalkeeper in Forster. So they may, that might help him out a little bit. But Diaz, could be in for a nice 12-pointer this week. Pretty secure for the clean sheets. The only worry is obviously when you're watching a defender, it's just you're watching the clock tick down and hoping that he, doesn't concede basically. So Ruben Diaz, probably an outside shout. Double game week. Could be a good option for the captaincy this game week. Now, another player that could be in for a shout for the captaincy this game week for the single game weekers would be Harry Kane. He'd probably be first on my list. He has 6 points currently in double game week 26. He still has to play Fulham tomorrow. That's at Craven Cottage with a temporary 161 points. And I'm hoping he does well because he's currently my captain in double game week 26. But in terms of the single game weekers, Kane probably has the best fixture on paper. Crystal Palace at home, a team that has been defending quite poorly recently, although the last couple of games they have done okay. Manchester United's attack hasn't been great recently, and before that, there's a few games before that, Crystal Palace were shipping goals left, right, and center. So I think Kane with Bale in the team is a whole different dynamic. They could definitely create and break down teams. I mean, they pretty much demolished Burnley from start to finish. And overall, I think that Spurs were, definitely worthy winners in that one. And Kane is definitely at the heart of it. Could have potentially scored even more, especially when Son slid across the ball, basically, and he was on the penalty spot and just kind of whiffed at it and didn't end up hitting the target at all. But Kane, for me, single game week versus a team that's in the bottom 8. Kane has yet to not blank against a team that is in the bottom 8. So expect him to score, hopefully, versus Fulham if you do have him captain or have him in your team. And Crystal Palace fall under that category. So I expect him to get some returns against Crystal Palace as well. So if you're looking for a single game week captain, I think Kane's probably your best bet this game week. And the last player we have is a single game week player as well, is Mohamed Salah. He currently has 167 points with 3 points as of the time of recording from double game week 26. He still has to play Chelsea, which is obviously a much tougher fixture than the one that he has in game week 27, which is Fulham at home. So you'd think Liverpool at home, a team, down the bottom, should be quite easy for Salah to score some goals, and he has been getting some chances here and there, and his underlying stats have been pretty steady throughout the majority of the season. Just Liverpool as a team overall don't look like they potentially are gonna ever maintain that level with this whole center back situation, Jordan Henderson being out, all these sorts of things just don't really fill me with a lot of confidence, which is why I haven't owned Salah for quite some time in my own personal team. But I think against Sheffield United, they're bouncing back and getting a couple of goals there. Salah was not involved in any of those goals, but he could potentially be involved in one versus Chelsea in his second fixture in double game week 26. And he has scored a few good ones versus them as well. I remember the one where he cut in off the right-hand side and just bent one into the top corner. It was quite a spectacular goal. And maybe he can pull some magic out versus Fulham. I think Liverpool need to start picking up points. I don't expect them to get rested anytime soon, especially with how far they are behind in the top 4 race. So Mohamed Salah could potentially be within, some good grounds to get some points versus Fulham, who have been defending a little bit better, but they could leave themselves open at the back for the Egyptian to get in behind and potentially slot one home. So if you're looking for probably the second best and probably only other single game week captaincy option this game week, I think Mohamed Salah is the best pick in that regard for game week 27. And that's going to do it for our double game week 27 captaincy picks. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure to show your appreciation and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and are new around here. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can see all the content that we're posting out there and when new videos go live, when we go live, and any other FPL related fun memes or things that I decide to retweet or post on there as well. Been a bit more active as mentioned at the beginning of the video, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams, which we will be doing a preview stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. EST. That is the 4th of March for that. And then the deadline stream 2 days later at 5 a.m. EST. There'll be a pinned comment down below which will give you the exact times for that and the link for the Twitch channel as well. It's PilotFlame226 on all platforms. Links are also in the description as well. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.